So I'm going to just say, we're going to call it half crow. We're going to work towards half crow today, because none of us can decide really the Sanskrit name for it. Right, so I'm here with Mandy and with Sam, and they're both going to modify some things. You'll need 2 blocks and a blanket to start with. And then you're going to start lying down on your back with your legs spread wide, your arms spread wide in Shavasana. So whenever I'm teaching arm balances, and I'm sure if you watch these you know, or if you take class you know, I always say these don't happen overnight. You have to work on them slowly, to work on the edge where you're building strength, maybe falling a little bit, but not tipping over, not jamming yourself in. They won't happen that way. Injuries will happen that way. So slow with all of this. Don't worry if you do the full pose. Try to stay with what's appropriate today. Okay, and then take big breaths in and out through your nose. Steady them out so their pace, their effort is even. And then just make note, if you have wrist injuries, shoulder injuries, hamstring stuff, this sequence will challenge those things, so be mindful, take breaks, don't do things that hurt, and don't push too far in those places. Be kind with yourself with these poses. And then just one time, big breath in through your nose, pull it up, widen your chest, and then let it out through your mouth. And then go back, in and out through your nose. The effort of Ujjayi, narrowing your throat, making your breath slightly audible. And then again, patience, practice, practice, practice. It never ends. There's no practice makes perfect in yoga. There's just practice and then more practice. And now hug your knees into your chest. So go softly with these first few poses. Happy baby can be a little bit challenging for some people's lower backs. Okay, so soft into these. And so once your knees are hugged in, hollow your lower belly to the floor, and then reach down and grab the edges of your feet for happy baby. Okay, so keep your shoulders, your head on the mat. Flex your ankles. Pull your chest wide, a little bit up towards the ceiling through your upper arms. And then have your upper arms on the inside edges of your knees. And then firm your arms into your knees and your knees into your arms without anything else in the pose changing, just finding the work of your inner thighs. And then keep the drawing down of your belly. Keep your chest wide. With your right foot, instead of having a flexed ankle, turn that into a Barbie foot. So press the ball of just your right foot up to the ceiling. Good. And now go slowly. Start to straighten your right leg out an inch. Once your right knee is a little straighter, if the rest of the pose won't change and you can straighten it another inch, and it's about 80% of what you'd usually do once you're warm, then go a little bit further. Good. Breathe. And then rebend that knee. Come back into happy baby with both legs. And then press the ball of your left foot up to the ceiling. Firm the back of your right arm, back of your left arm into your inner knees, and then start slowly to straighten your left knee inch by inch. It's not going any wider, it's just starting to straighten. And as you push your knee straight, think about pulling the front of your left thigh towards the fold of your hip, and then the fold of your hip towards your sit bone. Good. And then rebend that and hug both knees into your chest. Okay. And then take as many rocks as you'd like to come up to seated. And then once you're rocked up to seated, you'll bring the soles of your feet together, separate your knees apart, and turn that into a pretty big open diamond shape rather than a big tight one. And if your knees are up and they're bothering you, you have 2 blocks, put them under your knees. Widen your chest, anchor your sit bones. Now, without collapsing your chest, exhale, fold forward, walk your hands out in front of you. And then once you have that, you can let your spine evenly round with your sit bones still anchored and your chest wide. And then instead of relaxing your neck, look forward at your thumbs. You have your hands shoulder distance apart, spread through your fingers. And then flex your ankles. Stay as you are with everything else. Don't go crazy with this. But little bit by little bit, start to engage your inner thighs, bringing your knees up towards your outer shoulders just a little bit. So you just feel the inner thighs work. Good. The hair in the mouth. Ah, shaky, shaky. And then lower your knees back down. Sit all the way up on an inhale. And then come back into downward facing dog. Okay. Once you're in down dog, pedal back and forth for a moment. Find the anchor of your hands, that firmness in your arms, outer arms down, outer arms hugging in. And then step your right foot just 2 or 3 inches forward of where your left is. Bend your left knee, straighten your right leg out, send your heel right down behind your second toe, and then lift the front of your right thigh up towards the fold of your hip, and then push the fold of your hip back towards your sit bone. Think about this as a true forward bend in your hips. It is, but a little deeper one here. Good. And then step your right foot back. Step your left foot a little forward. Bend your right knee, straighten your left, heel behind your second toe. Knee faces that same direction. Find that pressing down of the floor. Firm your outer arms in. And then lift the front of your left thigh up to press the knee straight. And then push the crease of your hip back to your sit bone to fold. And then step back into down dog. And now inhale, glide yourself forward into plank pose. Bring your shoulders over your wrists. Okay. Draw your belly in. Firm your knees straight by using the fronts of your thighs again. Then press your heels back. Okay. Chest wide. Okay. Now push the floor down a lot. Get your upper back to round to the ceiling some. Get your shoulder blades to wrap the edges of your rib cage, but keep your chest wide. Now look forward, breathe in, shift forward, exhale, bend your elbows just 2 inches today, pause. And now that you're here, draw your belly in more. On your next breath, push yourself back up into plank. Feel your tailbone curling down as you do. Good. Look forward, shift forward again. Exhale, bend just 2 inches. Once you're down, belly in, press the floor down, let your upper back round a little bit. And then exhale, push back into down dog. Okay. And this time, inhale, glide on forward into plank pose. Then a little bit beyond, exhale, lower slowly towards chaturanga. Flip your toes, inhale into up dog, and then pause there. So press the floor down, widen the heads of your shoulders, and reach your feet away from you. Good. And then exhale, hips up and back, press back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet. And then bend your knees any amount to get a full fold at your hip crease. And you'll know that's happened if your belly and your lower ribs hang on your thighs. And then grab your elbows and hang forward. So your shoulders are not between your knees now, but they were in Happy Baby, or your outer arms were. And you were firming your outer legs in, your inner legs in as well. Do that here in the fold. And then find your lower belly, and without it rounding your spine, if you contract your whole abdomen, it'll round your back. Find just the lower part and zip it to the crown of your head. Good. And then take your fingertips down to your mat. Inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. And then inhale, stand yourself all the way up. Walk to the front, find mountain pose. Okay. Push your feet down. Firm your thighs, widen your chest, and then inhale, reach your arms up over top of your head. Exhale, fold from your hips, chest wide on the way down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, chest wide again. Exhale, step into plank. I'm stuttering again. Breathe in, and then exhale, lower to chaturanga. Flip your toes, inhale, big breath up dog. Good. Exhale, fold into downward facing dog. Press the floor down. And as you roll your outer arms down and pin them in, think about trying to press your inner arms that are next to your ears out to the sides of your mat without it bending your elbows. And then press your pelvis further back from your hands. Right, look forward, bend your knees, step, hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up again. And then exhale, join your hands together. Inhale, reach up tall. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga step or hop. Bend your arms in the air. Think about resisting away from the floor. Inhale, back bend. And then exhale, fold forward. Firm your legs, press them back. Without rotating them, think about that effort of firming your outer legs in. And then look forward, bend your knees, feet to your hands again. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, breathe to the top. And then exhale, hands together. Last time, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chest wide. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Okay. And then from here, walk your hands back to meet your feet. Inhale, chest wide, look up. Exhale, hands to your hips. And then inhale, stand yourself all the way up. Okay. Widen your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And be just a foot in front of the back edge of your mat. So step forward a little more, Mandy. Yeah, okay. Now turn your heels in and your toes out. Just a little bit. And then have your kneecaps facing the same direction as your second toe. Okay, now put your hands on the sides of your hips and lift your chest up wide. Take a breath in, and then exhale, start to bend your knees some. Like you're sitting into chair pose, but with your knees tracking the same direction as your toes. Draw your lower belly up. Lift your chest up. Sit a little deeper. Start to fold from your hips. Keep your knees wide. Sit a little deeper, and then maybe lift your heels on the way down, and squat all the way down into Malasana. Have your hands still on the crease of your hips, even though I know you don't want to. If your heels will hit, let them hit. If they won't and you want to roll the back of your mat up, you can always do that. Now, push the crease of your hips down, draw your lower belly up, lift your chest up and widen it. Now bring your hands to your heart. And then find Malasana from here. So fold the crease of your hips down, lift the top inch of your chest up. Draw your belly up without rounding. And now firm your knees and arms together without letting your knees collapse your chest and without letting your arms push your knees wider than your toes. Good. Okay, now keep the big fold that you have. Bring your hands down to the floor. Have them shoulder distance apart. Let your back round until your knees come towards your outer shoulders. And then without your knees collapsing in or your shoulders collapsing in, press your knees and arms together here. Keep looking a little forward. Good. And then press your arms straight, straighten your legs, parallel your feet off. Bring them to hip distance, and then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, walk all the way out into down dog. Okay. And then look forward, see your hands, step or hop to the front. Feet together, and then inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forward. And then keep your big toes touching. Squat yourself down. Bend your knees, let your tush hit your heels. Okay, once you're down, separate your knees as wide as your shoulders. Keep your big toes together. Fold at your hips, but round your upper back enough to get your shoulders between your knees. Okay, and then hands, wiggle them back a little bit. Shoulder distance apart. Draw your elbows in. Now lift your tush up enough that you can shift forward and create that 90-degree bend or a little less in your arms with your forearms perpendicular to the floor. So lift up, shift forward, look forward like you were doing Chaturanga in your arms, Mandy. Go into crow. There. And then once you're there, draw one heel up and then the other and work towards crow pose. Okay, if you're working on one leg at a time, work on that. If you've got both feet up, squeeze your heels up tighter to your sit bones. Draw your belly up to the ceiling more. Widen your chest more. And now think about going from Chaturanga or plank to up dog. Drop your butt down, lift your chest up. Work to straighten your arms a little. And if you fall out, you can come back in. So there's a little effort. A butt goes down, chest lifts up, elbows maybe straighten a little. Good. And then from here, either step back into plank, or if you know how to shoot back, straightening your legs in the air, do. Take yourself through a vinyasa and back into down dog. So not easy to do a straight-armed crow pose. You'll kind of need that a little bit later, but we're going to do a little cheat with the blocks. From down dog, inhale, glide forward into plank pose. Pick your right foot up, exhale. Take a breath in, exhale, bring your right knee to your nose. Look forward, step your right foot to the outside edge of your right hand. Okay, from here, press your back leg straight like plank, draw your belly in, chest wide, push the floor away from you with your hands, and then firm your knee and your arm together. Now come up onto the ball of your right foot. Keep squeezing your knee and your arm together. Now push the floor down, start to draw your right heel back towards your sit bone and end up in knee to tricep. Good, keep looking forward even though it's very tempting to look down. Good, and then step your foot forward again, right back to where it was. Drop your back knee down, straighten your right leg out, hands move back under your shoulders, flex your right ankle, heel right under your second toe, toes up to the ceiling. Okay. Have the inner edge of your right thigh and the back of your right arm still touching, chest wide. Now if you can't fold like this without rounding a tremendous amount, grab the blocks, put them under your hands for a couple of breaths. Yeah. Good. And then bend your right knee, move your hands forward, step back into plank. You can choose to take a vinyasa or right into down dog. Second side. Inhale, glide forward to plank pose. Exhale, left foot up. Breathe in. Exhale, left knee to your nose. Look forward, step your left foot to the outside. Good. Toes face forward. Heel behind your second toe for now. Push your back thigh straight up to the ceiling. Belly in. Now press the floor down. Squeeze your knee and arm together. Come up onto the ball of your left foot. Then once you're there, push the floor down more, and draw your heel up to your sit bone. Good. Breathe, elbows straight, and then look forward, step your left foot back to exactly where it was, lower your right knee to the mat, shift your weight back, straighten your left leg out, move your hands underneath your shoulders, and then left toes up to the ceiling. Try to get the inner edge of your left knee, the back of your left arm hugging together. Chest wide, steady breath. And if you use the blocks on the other side, make sure you're using them on this side too. And then bend your left knee, step back into plank, vinyasa, or downward facing dog. Walk your hands all the way back to meet your feet. Bend your knees again, any amount that gets the front of your pelvis, ribs touching your legs. This time wrap your arms around the outside edges of your calves. And then either hold the backs of your calves, or if you can weave your hands through and take opposing shins, you can weave your hands through. And then once you're there, shoulders up, chest wide. Find that firming in of your outer legs, inner thighs, lower belly, maybe straighten a little bit more. If it's going to make you round a huge amount, don't straighten any further. Shift into your heels a little more. There you go. You can do a somersault. Good. And then release your arms down. Inhale, chest wide, look forward. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand yourself all the way up. And then step wide to face the side of your mat. Step your feet wide apart, parallel them off. Heels behind your second toe. This time, hands to your hips. And then inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, fold forward, put your hands under your shoulders. Your heels out a little more. And then inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward, widen your collarbones. Without rounding your back, exhale, fold forward, Prasarita Padottanasana A. Okay, move your hands back so that your wrists are underneath your elbows, forearms perpendicular to the floor if your elbows are bent. Draw your forearms and elbows in so they're parallel. Lift your shoulders up like you would in Chaturanga. chest wide as well. And then firm your legs. Think about folding at the crease of your hips. Think about your shoulders as if they were still between your knees, pressing your chest wide, firming your outer legs in. Good. And then inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand yourself all the way up. And then exhale, step yourself up to the front of your mat, feet together, and take a salutation A. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale all the way through or step into down dog. Okay. And then walk your hands all the way back to meet your feet again. Grab your blanket, and you fold your blanket up one more fold beyond this, so that it's like this. Now, if when you're in Malasana, this isn't going to be tall enough to support your pelvis, you can always use your blocks. Okay, and then you're going to take your blanket, put it behind you, and then widen your feet again, heels in, toes out, squat yourself down, and come into Malasana. Okay, once you're there, sit your butt on the blanket. Good. And if it's not high enough, then fold it up more or grab your block and put it underneath you instead. Now from here, chest wide, firm your right knee, back of your right arm together. Draw your lower belly in. And now hold all of that. Just bring your fingertips down to the floor, shoulder distance apart. Straighten your elbows. And now like you did in that knee to tricep thing, and take your left leg, straighten it out. Pick it up, straighten it out, set your heel down on the floor. Good. Keep the back of your right arm hugging your inner knee. Keep your inner left thigh hugging your left forearm. Pull your chest forward. Good. Now like you did before in that other Malasana, without letting your sit bones lift, round your back somewhat, fold forward, and bring your forearms down to the floor rather than your palms. If your forearms don't hit all the way, that's okay. Now reach through the ball of your left foot. Firm your arm and your inner thigh together. Think about that inner thigh rolling down to the floor slightly. Good. Squeeze the back of your right arm and your right knee together. Keep both collarbones wide. Nice. And then inhale, sit yourself all the way up. Bend your left knee. Bring that back to that squatted Malasana position. Okay. Chest wide on your fingertips. And now right leg, straighten it out. Okay. Heel on the floor, inner thigh, forearm now touching, knee, left arm touching. Okay. So the sitting down into the sit bones, a little draw up of the belly, chest wide. And then fold that forward. Let your whole spine round somewhat evenly. Forearms down or palms just a little further forward. Draw your elbows in, chest wide. Good. And then think inner right thigh spins down some so that the inner thigh and your arm pin together. Inner knee, left arm together. Still collarbones broad. Good, you two. And then inhale, sit yourself all the way up. Put your foot on the floor. Good. And then once you're there, lift yourself up, fold forward, parallel your feet, straighten your legs. And I'm of service with a smile. Blankets out of the way. Right. Inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward. And then exhale, walk all the way out into downward facing dog. Once you're there, if you'd like to take a vinyasa, go ahead. Okay, if not, just hold down dog for a couple of breaths. Right. So we're going to do a little knee to tricep thing again. This one's a little harder, so if your foot doesn't, or if your leg doesn't straighten out all the way, don't worry. Work a little bit at a time. Okay. Inhale, come on forward into plank pose. Pick your right foot up and keep breathing. Exhale, right knee to your right tricep. Once it hits, if it won't hit, shorten your stance up a little bit, back foot toes in. Once it hits, hold that, push the floor down, let your spine round a little bit, flex your right ankle, start to straighten your right knee, reaching your heel forward to the front of your mat. As you do, spin your inner thigh up to the ceiling and squeeze your arm and your knee together. Not easy. Good. And then draw your heel back to your sit bone, press yourself back to that knee to tricep, and then back into down dog and pause. Okay, so not easy to get your legs straight, not easy to keep it lifted off of the floor. If it hit the floor, just keep in mind that's what happened. It's all right. If it didn't get straight, that's what happened. It's all right. Okay, second side, inhale, come on forward into plank pose. Okay, exhale, left foot up, breathe in. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Whole rest of your body feels pretty much like plank. Press the floor down, let your upper back round a little. Flex your left ankle. Now start to straighten your left leg out, reaching the heel forward, firming your inner thigh and arm together, rolling your inner left thigh up to the ceiling sun. Good. And then bring that back, knee to tricep, up and back to downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Slide your hands underneath your feet to the fold. Bend your knees if you round your back. Firm your legs, relax your neck, and then stamp your toes down into your palms. Pull up on your hands a little bit. It'll open your wrists back out. Okay, so we're going to go to the arm balance next. And it's one that takes a long time, especially without blocks. We're going to use blocks today. So you're going to do one leg in crow pose, and one leg will come into what you were just doing in that plank. But you're going to start in crow pose with both legs. You have to have pretty straight arms in order to do this. Okay, so if they're not straight yet, you're going to work on crow pose the whole time. Inhale, pull your chest forward, look forward. Exhale, walk out into down dog. And then lower your knees down, grab your two blocks, and you're going to set them up shoulder distance apart, the lowest height, the front of your mat. Okay, so they're going to go right underneath your palms, lowest height. Okay, once your hands are on them, it's really tempting to do this grip thing. It's not great for stability, so whole palm flat on the blocks. All right, here we go. Are you ready, Miss Mandy? Here we go. Yes. Okay. All right, come into downward facing dog with your hands on the blocks. And then look forward, hop your feet up to meet your hands. Come into a squat. Okay, bend your knees, and you're going to set yourself up into crow pose with your hands on the blocks. So lift your tush up, squeeze the knees and the backs of the arms together. You can't get into it up there. I know, it's a little funky. Way up in the air. Okay, once you're way up there, push into the floor, firm your knees and your arms together, and start to let your tush drop down a little. Lift your chest up, and then slowly, slowly, left leg or right leg, whichever you want to start with, start to stretch it forward. Reach through the ball of your, good, Mandy. Chest wide. And then squeeze your heel back into your sit bone. Good, Sam. And then put yourself back down. Good. Right, so the key to this is that you have to let your tush drop to lift your chest up to get your leg through. When your arms are bent, it's really hard to get your right heel or left heel off the floor. Okay, so second side, here we go. Last one. So it's a little awkward to come up into crow. You've got to lift your tush way up, shift way forward, squeeze the heels up. Okay, and then keep your upper body really strong, arms in, chest wide. And when you're ready, left leg, start to reach the heel forward, spin your inner thigh up, firm the arm and leg together, it's all good. And then bring it all the way back and set it down. Move your blocks to the side. Really good, you two. Nice try. And then fold forward, grab your elbows in a hanging forward fold with your feet hip distance, and just pause for a moment. Really good. So it's one of the hardest arm balances, in my opinion, especially if your hamstrings are a little bit constricted, or if it's hard to find neutral rotation in your hips, or if you don't do crow with straight arms yet. Okay, so a little bit at a time. And then just release your hands down to your mat. Inhale, pull your chest forward, and then exhale, just step back into down dog. And then look forward, past your hands, hop through, lie down on your backs. Hug your knees into your chest. Give them a little bit of a squeeze. And then rather than doing a big back bend or anything of that sort, seeing as we didn't prep for any of that, just take a reclined twist. So drop your knees off to the left, reach your right arm out to the side, widen your chest, and relax down into your mat. And so it takes a huge amount of upper body strength. And you could see that both these amazing ladies stayed where they could today with great alignment. They were working really hard, shaking, all of that, but nothing injurious, nothing that was too far beyond what they were able to accomplish today. And that's how you learn these things, little bit by little bit. And then inhale, bring your knees back up, and exhale, drop them off to the opposite side.
Let me for you, madame.
And then inhale, bring yourself back up. Hug your knees in again. And then like we started, you reach down, grab the edges of your feet, and take happy baby pose. And either pelvis flat on the floor, so lower back flat on the floor, or you can round a little bit. Whatever feels good in your body at this point. Start to watch your breath softly moving in and out. Let yourself relax and let go. And then if it feels good in your body, you can start to straighten your legs out some, both at the same time now, or one at a time like we did at the beginning. And like Mandy's doing, you can grab the backs of your calves rather than your feet if your hamstrings aren't quite as open. They will be one day. She knows that. They've come a long way. And then give your knees a hug in again. And when you feel ready and even and symmetrical, stretch yourself out into Shavasana right where you started. Yeah, so not a long sequence, but definitely not an easy one. So give yourself a good amount of comfort in your body. Relax into the shape. Let your breath go back to its natural pattern, its natural rhythm. And it might not do that all the way. I know that I thought I was supposed to be able to just miraculously let go of my breath control. And it sometimes takes a lot of work to get that to happen fully. But try to let it go somewhat. And then give your mind a break from the concentration on lots of different alignment points that it was just doing. And try to single that concentration down to just observing your breathing. And if that other stuff that's really not taking place right now, that's outside of what's happening on your mat, takes control and tricks you into believing it's really important, and you notice that happens, go back and just observe your breath again. Rest, Shavasana. And take a couple of deeper breaths. And start with small movements. And when you feel ready, reach your arms back, roll to your right, and then make your way up to seated. And just cross legs once you get there and sit up tall. And join your hands together in front of your heart. Lift up, widen your chest, and then exhale, bow your head down. And look up, open your eyes. Namaste.